Like, comment, and subscribe. Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we are going to talk about the Koss 95X, which is a collaboration between a Drop and Koss. Now this is a first for me. This is the first over-ear electrostat that I have been able to hear for longer than a couple moments. And the only other experiences I've had with electrostats has been in the IEM form and like some of the hybrids that have come out recently. So this was a unique experience. I do want to thank Farsil the Wizard for sending these over. I do greatly appreciate it. Farsil the Wizard, you rock. So the Koss 95X comes in this big huge box. It's not super thick, but it's just large. Says the sound of Koss, and then hearing is believing, and then you just have a picture of the headphones. It says Koss 95X from Drop ESP 95X, excuse me. You do get a little bit of paperwork, and then inside here will be your headphones and your energizer, which we'll talk about in a moment. Headphones are here. They will come unassembled. They are modular, and you just click them together. And I must say, I felt some cheap headphones and some low quality, and these set the new mark for just light, cheap, and unpremium feeling. All the e-stats that I've ever felt have not really been particularly like amazing build quality, but they've been better than this. And these just feel cheap. They feel like a $30 headphone, and they do absolutely nothing to make me feel like they won't break or snap, and they just ooze of cheap. Yeah, anyways, enough of that. You get an attached cable, and then you have a flat cable that is 4 foot long, goes into the weird 5-pin connector. You do get a 6-foot extension, which is nice. Same build, nothing spectacular. I mean, it still feels cheap. The Energizer also feels cheap. It's just really light, and never mind that, that's from Farsil. It's just extremely light plastic build, feels like absolutely nothing. And from what I understand from other reviewers that have opened it up, it's got quite the build inside of it, but it's just cheap on the outside. So the backside is very simple. It's RCA input and a power supply. On the front, you have your dual concentric volume level. So it's split right and left, and you just have to hold it out. There's your headphone out. Here's your power switch. And then you have an LED, which indicates, and you also have a 3.5mm input. So you can either do RCA in or 3.5 in. Both work, and very simple. It's not the most powerful of energizers, but it works for the 95X. It does have that weird connector, so you can't use other e-stats with it. Okay, so back to the headphones. You can change the pads, from what I understand. Farsil said that you can put some alternate pads on. I know Tacony makes some alternate pads, but I did ask for the stock pads on them just so that I could review them as stock. And they're fairly comfy. I mean, these headphones weigh absolutely, or ear speakers as they're called, weigh absolutely nothing. So when you put them on, I mean, they just like float on your head. I mean, either opener than more than open. You can hear everything around you. I can still hear my cat meowing out in the hallway. And one thing that I did notice is when you have them on, you can hear a little bit of jiggle in the wire. So you do get a little bit of wire noise. Nothing too bad, but you know, if that bothers you in IEMs, it will bother you with these. But overall, comfort-wise, they're fine. Clamp force is really not existent, and the ear pads are nice and soft. I do have kind of a weird feel to them, but yeah, it's all right. But the major thing is, how do they sound? Well, when I first got them, I connected them up to my THX AAA 788, and I had the RCA output going into the Energizer, and I wanted to hear what that DAC would sound like with the 95X. And what I got was a very airy and very just airy, wide open, but somewhat lean sounding. And I was a little bit like, okay, I know that E-stats are normally that way and have lots of detail, and it had a lot of detail, but it just didn't seem like it had a whole lot of body to it. And I was a little disappointed. And so I started asking around, hey, what DACs and stuff like that do you guys like to use your 95X with, or other E-stats with? And people were saying the IFI Zen DAC, the IFI Hip DAC, the Grace Design S-DAC, various others, SU8, and some others that were being mentioned. And so I started fiddling around. I started connecting all the different DACs and amps to them, and the one that I actually stuck with was the two from IFI. So we have the one that Farsil sent over, which is his Zen DAC, and also the Hip DAC. And they both played extremely well connected into the Energizer of the 95X. So I found that a slightly warmer sounding DAC and a little bit more full bodied really brought out the Koss 95X. Now it sounded really good on the AAA 788 as far as detail retrieval and just overall just wide open spaces, and it just sounded very natural, but it had that lacking of body a little bit. And so when I used the 788, I used this little red thing that's connected here, and that's the Bellari Audio Sonic Exciter. And I found by using that, it added in a little bit of bass and a little bit of full bodiness and just kept the music alive. And as it says, it excited the sound. And so with all that being said, the Koss 95X sound better with an equalizer, better with a little bit added in. Now they sound good stock, and we'll get to the sound overall in a moment, but I just found that I enjoyed it more when I had a little bit extra added in. So sound. The bass on them is very linear. It does roll off. You don't get a whole lot of details going into the sub bass region, but you have a lot of details in the bass itself, and it's very clean, very clear, but it's very light. So if you're looking for some impact, you're looking for some thump, you're looking for some just a little bit of body in the bass, these won't give it to you stock. You're going to want to get something that can enhance the bass. The IFI Zen DAC or the IFI Hip DAC, or adding in a Bellari Audio Sonic Exciter. Something along those lines. You're going to want to tweak it a little bit, bring in the bass. The mids have a very nice and neutral sound signature to them. They have very natural tendencies to them. They're very clean, very smooth, and you can, when you enhance it a little bit and add in a little bit of body to it, you can get a really nice lushness and a romanticism to it. When they're in stock form, they tend to be still very natural and neutral sounding, but they are a little bit on the leaner side. In fact, the whole overall presentation is on the leaner side. Going into the treble, it climbs very nicely up through the upper mids and lower treble region. There's no shoutiness, no aggressiveness, none of that. I mean, it's very well done. It's a very smooth transition, and it reaches up and well with the best of them in the treble. Has extremely good extension, and you never once did I get any sort of harshness or sibilance or anything of that. It retrieved the details smoothly, and it provided them in a very polite manner. You just never had anything that was offensive. These are a very, very relaxed, laid back, but very well detailed Electrostat. And I just found that they're very well balanced throughout. Again, they just are slightly lean sounding. And so if you want a little bit more added in, you're going to want to get yourself a equalization of some sort, or a warmer DAC, something with a little bit more body to it, and it really brings them alive. So for a first venture into an E-Stat, I really like the Koss 95X. I find them to be very good for the price point. I would say that the build quality is, if you're looking for well build quality, look elsewhere. But if you're looking for good quality sound and something that you can really tinker around with EQ, if you like adding in stuff and just changing your flavor to however you like it, whether you know, if you want to try it on this DAC or that DAC, or add in here or there and all that, these play very well with it. Yeah, there we go. Do greatly appreciate Farsil the Wizard for sending over the Koss 95X, a very unique and interesting headphone, and I'm thankful for the experience of it. Do greatly appreciate it, Farsil. And if you get a chance, pick one up. It's been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is floating around a subscription link and notification bell. If you haven't already, check those off. And then check out the links down below for Farsil the Wizard's channel, for links for music that was used to test the headphones here, playlists, Deezer, and Tidal, and also links to Patreon, PayPal, emails, and all kinds of other good things. Thanks, and have yourself a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.